Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Resilient Women Wednesday podcast. If you already don't know who I am, my name is Tammy. I'm a C4, C5 quadriplegic. I was injured in a car accident when I was 17 on April 4th, 2008. A driver had cut off our car, which caused my driver to panic and swerve, then hit an oncoming divider. The car flipped, and the impact was heavily on my side, and it shattered my C4, C5 vertebrae. Now that I've thoroughly introduced myself, so for today, I'm so excited for you guys to meet my incredible two friends, Danny and Valeria. Danny, would you like to introduce yourself and share a little about your story, and then we'll go to Valeria?
Yeah, sure. I'm Danny. I am C5, 6 quadriplegic from a spinal cord injury. I'm coming up on my 12th anniversary of my accident. So it has been quite a journey. I'm usually, these days, I'm not one to talk about my accident because I don't feel like it.
Yeah,
I
and that's
have much
fine.
happier things going on, and those are that my twins that I gave birth to in April 2020. And yeah, yeah, and we have a film coming out hopefully later this year.
So exciting! Okay, Valeria, thanks for sharing, Danny. And Valeria, go ahead.
Hi, I am Valeria. I am C4, C5, quadriplegic, spinal cord injury, 20 years post injury.
Oh, wow.
And I also have twins like Danny. Mine are 4.5 boys, and we've been friends from before, having twins both, which is pretty cool. We've been knowing each other for 10 years. And I have a company, which is a small business, friendship, and that's my work, daily work, 100% work, mom, and well, no, I'm not gonna say career mom because that sounds stupid,
Yeah.
but and working and yeah, uh, life.
Yeah, a busy life, I'm sure. You know, both of you with twins. Okay, thank you so much for sharing. I guess we'll jump into the stories, which I know everyone is excited to know about. We'll start with marriage. How did you and your husband meet, Danny?
I
I know the story.
was debating if I was going to admit this or not, but we met on Tinder.
Normal, that's fine.
So I know it's totally a normal thing now. Everybody meets online, especially in the age of COVID, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was actually living in California at the time, and he was in Virginia. I'm
Mhm.
originally from Virginia, but I was back here visiting my family here in Virginia when I swiped. Is it right or left?
I think
When
it's
I swiped
right.
the right way, and I saw him, and we ended up having a phone conversation, and then we went on a date, I think a couple days later,
Oh,
and
wow.
it all went from there.
Was it like, was it instant attraction?
I mean, you can only tell so much. Like Tinder's just a photo or a
Yeah.
couple photos and like 5 words or not that many words at all. So I really didn't know. I thought he was really handsome. He was like
Yeah.
tall, blue eyes. Oh, and he had a banjo, which I thought was interesting. So he had kind of like country vibe going on. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, he's
And
cute.
you guys clicked pretty well on the first date.
Um, I thought he was interesting.
Yeah.
I thought he was unique. But yes, we did. We had a very similar sense of humor. And I think, like, I always think that our love, like, grew. We really got to know each other.
Yeah.
And then we dated for a whole year, long distance. Like, I was in California and he
Oh,
was in
wow.
Virginia. And I think that was a good thing because it made us pace ourselves and really get to know each other.
Yeah. You know, that takes a level of emotional maturity because I think I had a history of like just bulldozing and like just diving in, you know, but it just takes, I guess it takes experience too. Um, was it difficult though?
I didn't mind,
Oh,
but
okay.
he didn't like the distance. But we kind of like really the way to make that work, I felt, was to have a plan. And so we
Yeah.
decided, all right, if we're gonna make this work as boyfriend and girlfriend, we need to visit each other at least once a month.
Yeah.
So we would switch. I would go there, and then 1 month, and he'd come to California another month.
Yeah.
So we kept switching off, and then it just came to a point where, like, well, if we want to continue this relationship, somebody's got to move.
Yeah.
And that period was really weird because you're still dating, but it's like there's a lot of pressure because you're like, all right, someone has to make the big move and
Yeah.
the sacrifice, and
That's life altering.
just do it. And yeah.
Yeah.
I was the one to end up moving, but it made sense because my family is back in Virginia.
Oh.
Um,
Oh,
yeah.
wow. What a coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, look at your life now. Oh my God. So, it's beautiful. It's amazing. I'm really excited for you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Danny. How about you, Valeria? How did you and your husband meet?
We met in high school.
Oh, wow.
We actually met in high school. So when we were 14, we haven't been together since high school at all, actually.
Oh.
Well, we dated 2-3 weeks when we were 15, and then we just were friends. And then I had a car accident. Sorry, I didn't say it before. So I was involved in a car accident, kind of like you. With a driver that wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Actually, I was, but he wasn't, and he fell on me, and that's how he broke my neck. So all that thing going on, and that was right after high school. I was in college. I am a biologist. Actually, that was all of my information. And Alessandro, which is my husband, he showed up. He was the first person to come in the ICU. Sorry. After my injury, because only my parents were allowed.
Yeah.
And but he was volunteering on an ambulance when he heard by some friends that he doesn't remember that I was injured, and so he came all dressed up as a first responder, and they let him in.
Yeah.
So he was able to come and see me, and he brought me a red rose. And I was
How
like,
cute. Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
He doesn't remember. This rose, and then I saw you like I would cry. I was like, oh shit, that must be really bad.
That's so cute.
But it was super sweet, and I had that rose. I had that rose for several years.
Yeah.
And we went our own ways, and we both finished our college. And well, I had first to do all the hospital and all the things you do after an injury, so
Yeah.
it took me longer. And then 10 years ago, while in the States for physical therapy, I was at the time in North San Diego at Project Walk. That's where I met Danny. And I remember he was from San Diego. His parents from San Diego. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna Google him. Let's see where he is. And so I Googled, I found his contact. He was living in the Bay Area at the time. So I messaged him, oh, hi, it's Valeria here. It's been, I don't know, 10 years since we saw each other last time. And then nothing. He came a week later. At that time, he was traveling. He was in Europe. So as soon as he got back, he came to see me. Yeah. And it was love at first sight, second sight.
Wow, that's so cute. That's quite the journey. Oh my gosh.
It was actually I realized my soulmate.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at your life as well. So beautiful.
I know. I'm so happy. That was a long time after we met, but I think you were there, Danny, the evening that he came.
I was going to say, I remember when I was down in living in Carlsbad at the time. You said your friend was coming down from the Bay Area, and
I was trying to place with you, right? I was like, oh, you have to meet him. He's
I wasn't gonna say, so I'm glad you said it first. But Valeria was gonna set me up with him.
Ah!
I didn't. I didn't
I,
even know what it was
I
like or anything.
maybe at
Just
the
like, you have
time
a
I
guy,
was
and I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's so
I think
cute.
I was still like finishing a story at the time that it was already done, but I wasn't in, yeah. But then I kind of, yeah. Well, I was with another guy, but he wasn't there with us, and we were decided, but at the time I was like, oh yeah, you have to meet him. He's awesome.
That's so
He's a friend of mine, and
She's like pawning him off to you.
yeah, and then I think she's at some point, and she told me, she's like, I think he's more into you. It's like, yeah, he's cute. He's not really my type, but I think he's more into you anyway. I'm like, oh.
That's so funny.
Yeah, 2 months later, we saw each other a few times. Then he also was in another relationship that was also finished. So, and then 2 months later, we actually dated and we got married and all the cool stuff.
Cool.
Got twins and
Yeah, it worked out, right? Like just perfectly when it was meant to be, huh? I mean, it seems like it was already meant to be, but it's just
yeah, I
quite the
feel
journey.
sometimes I kind of missed it in high school, but I
Yeah.
guess we had to go our own ways first.
Yeah, and grow as a person and, just your own life experience and your own journey.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that awesome story. Oh my God. And I love your friendship with Danny because it seems like you guys have really hilarious stories.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Okay. Do you ever feel like there's a misconception about our ability as women living with paralysis to contribute to like a romantic relationship? Danny, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I think especially from the male side of it, or the men, I think they look at us and think about us as potential partners and think, well, I think their knee-jerk reaction is, I don't want to be her nurse.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I came up against, like, when I was dating and stuff, Like, there was definitely an assumption there that they would have to, like, be some kind of nurse, But I think people don't realize, like, until they actually know someone with a disability and spend time around them as a human,
Yeah.
they're not going to see the help that they provide as, like, nursing.
Yeah.
It's not clinical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's human interaction, and it's okay to need help from a romantic partner. And maybe you don't even need help. Like, sometimes people make the assumption, and some people with paralysis don't even need help. Some of us do. Either we deserve love.
Yeah. I asked that question because I see so often, even stuff that you post, that people kind of also paint the partner who's abled as the hero. And I'm just like, they just don't just magically appear in our lives or better. Like, do you realize the level of accountability that we are already practicing in our daily lives in order to eventually teach a partner if they're open to it or whatever? There's a level of accountability on a daily basis where we take care of ourselves. Just because it's not physical doesn't mean we're not taking care of ourselves and learning our own care and directing our sense of care, right? So, yeah. I mean, do you feel like you had to like teach anyone, or did it just come naturally, like they're just open to it?
Yeah. With Rudy, so I mean, I think, like, I never wanted to just place someone in that role of my caregiver.
Yeah.
I wasn't just gonna, I need to see if that person, if they were open to it, first of all, and like if they could handle it, or it just depends on so many factors. But like when we were first dating, I think I wanted to keep doing things on my own, so I still had like a caregiver, another lady come in from outside to help me with my personal needs, which are mostly just in the morning, getting out of bed, getting dressed and things, showering and things like that. So like what I would do, I'd kick him out for like an hour or two. I'd be like, go to a coffee shop, don't come back till I call you. But then like with time, and I learned to trust him, it just became natural for him to help me. And then there was a certain point where we moved in together. I still had a caregiver at that point. And then there was a point where like we don't want to spend our money on an assistant.
Oh, that's
like it
so
just
good.
came to that.
Yeah.
So, and we fell into a routine, and now it's just like part of the routine. It's not to say that he's always going to be doing those things. Yeah. Like there's going to be times in our marriage where I'll hire someone again, and we just have to communicate and be flexible about things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, people do see him as like a superhero for being with me. Sorry, my dad's
No worries. I can hear you.
My dad. No, he's amazing. He's taking care of the babies.
I have a brother. He's just as loud.
Yeah. So, they see him as a hero figure, and it's hard because like I know he's amazing. Like he deserves recognition for being like a great person and husband and loving me and caring, but like I just don't want people to just cherry pick that one thing, like like overflow it.
Yeah, agreed. Well, what I love about you is that you do like stand your ground on social media and with so much grace. When you post things about the mean comments you get, I just have the urge to not be so kind for you. But yeah. Oh, can you guys hear me?
Sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, I thought my sound cut out for a second. Okay. Thanks for sharing that with us, Danny. How about you, Valeria? Do you ever feel like there's a misconception about our ability to contribute in relationships as women living with paralysis?
Yeah, I would say all the time.
Yeah,
that's my experience in general, from men and women, unfortunately, from both sides. Yeah, I experience it all the time, and I agree with a lot with what you said, because people think, they're like, wow, this man is incredible, he's a superhero. They have to tell him, like they some of them, not all of them, but feel the urge to like really congratulate the guy, which it's kind of an offense usually towards us. That's my feeling.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what are you saying? What do you see that it's so bad that makes you think that he's so incredible? And he's incredible, don't get me wrong, because I love him and he loves me, and he's the best person I know, and I'm that's not the point. The point is that this urge to see him as doing something amazing and incredible just because he is with me, with a person with paralysis or disabilities in general, it's very offensive towards us, and it's very wrong as well, because we are way more than a disability. What to the table, I think it is equal. I mean, relationships can work and cannot work. It's not that if you're disabled, if you're not disabled, that's the same thing. Of course, it's the connection. It's not being disabled the problem in the relationship. When the relationship works, I mean, I don't think we would. It's not even in question. I don't think we ever talked about that, but I experienced, uh, yeah, even sometimes, unfortunately, in the family, even the people that know you, they're like,
Yeah.
they, they're like, oh, wow, he's a great man. Keep like my father, he's awesome.
Yeah.
But you're like, oh gosh, keep it. He's amazing. Just he was so afraid that I would do something wrong and not marry Ali that he sometimes like I don't know some example like he would come to me and tell me, he's amazing, right? Be nice. Don't say that or don't answer like that because sometimes I'm not always cool, of course, like
You're
everyone, but he
human.
wasn't always cool either.
Yeah.
But my father would just be scared that this incredible man, which he is,
Yeah.
would like run away or like,
Yeah.
that's okay.
That's okay. Oh my god. You're so
Yeah,
funny. You're like, that's
oh
okay.
my,
Yeah, if I could just hop in and say, we're allowed to be difficult sometimes,
Yeah.
I think we feel this pressure to sometimes we feel this pressure we have to be perfect to make up for our disability or
Or like
something.
accommodating
Which
to
is
others.
ridiculous. It's like an internalized individualism, and it's not healthy.
Yeah.
And we have to remind ourselves, no, we're humans.
Mm-hmm.
We make mistakes. That we can be complex, difficult women
Yeah.
and still be loved.
Yeah.
yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
completely agreed. Well said, Danny. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that by you sharing that, Valera, it just shows like the human side of us, right? That it's not all perfect all the time. It does get messy, or sometimes you're snappy and you lose your cool. But
Yeah, then I mean I'll apologize. It's a thing between us.
Yeah.
It doesn't concern the others. And of course, it's the caregiving that's another layer, but it's also another layer of intimacy, and it's important.
Yeah.
And it's maybe something even more special that we share with our partners.
Yeah.
So I think that's something to take into account as well. It's the hardest part. It's hard to be. I like Danny, actually, me too. I had my caregivers, I had my plan, and I just fit my relationship in it. I just didn't just impose
Mm-hmm.
the caregiving on my partner, but because of me, because I didn't want to share some kind of things right away with another person. I mean, I would share them with my caregiver. I have no choice, and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not that I was looking for a partner to take care of me. That would be so weird.
Yeah. Again.
Once you get that intimacy, I think it's even stronger because you get to share. You get to share more. You
Yeah.
be naked together more.
Yeah.
You get to be
Yeah.
showering. There's things that you wouldn't do all the time that you have to do.
I feel
And
like it's such a deeper layer of connection, like you said, it's a layer of intimacy that there's just not one size fit all when it comes to love, connection, and intimacy,
And I don't think that's what people see from the outside,
Yeah.
though.
That's
So
why.
the misconception is real.
That's why this podcast exists.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. So marriage can sometimes be glamorized or over romanticized. Describe what the reality of marriage looks like for you and your reasonings in terms of why you wanted to settle down and get married. Danny, we'll start with you first.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just what happens in life, and marriage is a pretty common thing. And he proposed, and it was romantic, and I couldn't say no. I was swept off my feet, and it was beautiful. I wouldn't want it any other way. We had our whole honeymoon phase, and we still have honeymoon phase sometimes.
That's so cute.
But we just had kids. We just had babies, twins at the same time, which is hard. It's hard. I'm not gonna say sorry.
No worries.
I'm not gonna say sorry. Shield Healthcare is calling me.
Oh,
I have
my
a company.
supplies. My supplies. I should call them soon too.
Yeah, they called me yesterday.
Yeah, I'm
Good.
late on calling mine. That's so funny. Oh. But yeah,
Hard.
what does like
Um,
so what does marriage look like now? You know, the reality.
yeah, so I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is hard. We're going through a difficult
Hmm.
time. Um, it's not gonna ruin us or anything. We're gonna be fine. But like, this is very much a challenge.
Hmm.
And it's funny because like before we had kids, Rudy and I were like, we don't understand why people always say marriage is so hard. Why is marriage hard? This is great. Like, we're loving life.
Yeah.
No,
We had kids
totally
to the mix.
naive. And then, yeah, and then bam, we have kids. He's helping me. He's helping take care of them. I'm trying to take care of them. We both have full-time jobs. A pandemic hits. We're isolated. We're bored. We're lonely. We don't get to date each other. We barely have any help. This is not normal. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, so long as we keep communication going and like we're both committed and we just, I mean, overall we're happy together and we're gonna get through it.
Yeah.
And Valeria told me, she told me like a couple months after I had the babies, I don't know, 1 or 2 months after, she was like, is everything okay with you and Rudy? You know,
Yeah.
because she's been there. Like, she's
Yeah.
been through that.
Oh.
I'm not going to speak for her, but
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah. It's like, you know, from one person to another who's experienced it, she could probably gauge and probably wants to check in on you. You know, that's the best. I think that's what's beautiful about, you know, our friends and people being in the same situation as us. Oh, wow. Well, I hope you're getting through it. And, you know, thanks for sharing that very personal and vulnerable and probably very difficult part of your life with us. And I do have faith that you'll get through it, you know. And, okay, thank you for sharing with us, Danny. How about you, Valeria? Marriage can sometimes be glamorized and over-romanticized. Describe what the reality of your marriage looks like now and, like, your reasonings for settling down.
Yes. I was thinking about the over romanticized and glamorized thing. I don't think I grew up seeing marriage so glamour, I have to say, which is one of the reasons why I was like, no, I'm never gonna get married and never gonna get married.
Yeah.
And then actually I met him, re-met him, and yeah, it was kind of natural because you're in love, things are great, you just want to stay all the time together, and then he proposed, and of course it was a yes, and it was awesome, and you want to build a family. So I guess it was glamorous because we would date a lot and go out and do a lot of stuff, and always like happy and free, and then no. It's maybe what you call their honeymoon phase,
Yeah.
Dani. Even before you get married. And then, of course, after you get married. And then that's true. When you have kids, the reality kicks in. I tend to think that even if you don't have kids, it happens.
Yeah.
Because it's more about the time, of course. The life keep going, the things happen, and so I don't want to say it's the kids, because I think it's amazing having kids, and so I'm happy because that's what I wanted, and I wanted with them, and I got two. I mean, it's all perfect, right?
Yeah.
But the fatigue, is huge.
Yeah.
And that you kind of pay that, and so.
Yeah.
Marriage is a lot of, it's a lot, for me, in my opinion, it's a lot of micromanagement, especially when you have kids. I mean, right after babies. And then, I mean, my experience is twins, like Dani. So I think we got a reality check very strong right away. If you have one, I think it's better, which is the usual. So I don't want to scare anyone.
Yeah.
It's not the same as having one baby or having two together.
Yeah.
a lot more. And of course, the disability doesn't help because you are in your balance of caregiving, of things, of routines, and everything is messed up.
Yeah.
From your body because of the pain and all these things to the really the time that you don't have anymore, the
Yeah.
sleep you don't have anymore,
Yeah.
caring for so many things. It's like it's overwhelming. So a marriage becomes difficult. I am four. My twins are four, actually 4.5. So we are better.
Yeah.
It's still they're still little. They're two. They were born premature, so we had a very tough first year and a half. Um, we had to do a lot of therapies and things. So
Yeah.
we paid the fatigue, and I think you go through by just um, choosing each other every day, like loving. Yeah, you might be tired, you don't have the time to date, and that's still now we were talking about that. The pandemic really doesn't help
Yeah.
because we finally had the kids in preschool, and I told Dani we spoke a while ago, and I was like, yeah, if you when you get to get the kids in preschool or daycare, whatever that is, it's going to be easier because you're going to have a little time, for yourself and your husband, and that time is very important in a marriage. So
Yeah.
that's what we're missing right now because of the pandemic and because of the twins. So I know that Dani, she's gonna rock it. She's already rocking it.
Yeah,
So
I was gonna say you both are
I
truly.
asked her after 2 months because I know the beginning it's so overwhelming. You're like, what am I doing here? What's happening?
Yeah.
9 months after, she's already good.
Yeah.
So marriage
Yeah.
is just, I mean, I recommend it. If you find
I
the right person,
recommend it.
I recommend it. Yeah.
You're freaking hilarious. No, well, I mean, by sharing these, you know, I feel like it's just so real when you guys, share these stories because you see behind like the layers of marriage and what you go through and how you stick together and just doing whatever it takes, that to choose each other every day, like you said. And I think it's wonderful that you said you recommend marriage and whatever your life journey was and whatever your story was. But like you said, that you didn't want to settle down in the beginning because you didn't grow up with seeing a romanticized marriage. And yeah, I grew up in a very dysfunctional household, so I wanted to ask these questions because I want to change my view of the world, life, and family, and relationships. So it's not that.
Sorry.
I'm sorry?
How do you see the marriage? Like romanticized or not?
I had a very romanticized idea of relationships, of how like I yeah, I chased men a lot more than I believed that I was capable. And if you were to ask me like how I view things, it's like a lot of fear. Still, like I fear like, wow, am I really am I sure I can like tie myself to someone for the rest of my life? Am I capable of having children? Things like that. It's a lot of fear and self-doubt. And I think I'm just trying to take my time with it.
I feel you.
Yeah, and I also brought this topic up because I was very consumed by this idea of marriage because everyone around me was getting married. I was like super envious. My sister, I'm like the disabled sister, I feel like, and my elder sister was getting married at the time. And everyone around me was getting married, even like, friends who are also quads. And it's just like, wow, am I ever going to get this? But am I, so I wanted it so badly, not realizing that I wanted it to kind of like more fulfill my own ego and to feel more secure about myself. But when I talk to you ladies, like I see how real it is and the responsibilities and the commitment. And, I feel like I'm still learning about myself before I would like jump into,
I waited a long time, so I don't think.
Yeah.
It's good to wait and to be sure.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So it's so reassuring and so like informative when I listen to your girl's story. So thank you so much. Which leads us to our next question, which is similar to what I was talking about. Do you have any excuse me, do you have any advice for those who are living with paralysis that long for love and connection and are seeking romantic relationships? We'll start with Danny.
Yeah. Well, let me start with the advice that Valeria gave me like 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I told her one day at her house, I said I was dating, and I said, I just feel like I'm going to be a burden.
Uh-huh.
And she looked at me. She like glared at me. And I was like, I shouldn't have said that. And she was like, don't ever say that again.
That's so cute.
She said, don't ever say that again about yourself. And not only did I really take that to heart, but I also realized what I was saying was not only insulting to myself, but insulting to all the other disabled women out there.
Yeah.
You know, so I was projecting my ableism, I guess you could call it,
Yeah.
to everyone else by, you know, once you learn how to love yourself, you can really love others. So I think that's an aspect of it too. So my advice, my brain's not working. Where was I going with this? My advice is to take Valeria's advice and don't see yourself as a burden.
Yeah.
Even though you live your life in a radically different way than some people.
Yeah.
You know, like being a paraplegic is a really different lifestyle, and that's okay. You know, find someone that is not going to be weird about it and can just be joyful to be by your side, and and stay lighthearted. Like when you're dating, don't get all serious about it, and don't take stuff personally. Don't take rejection personally.
Yeah.
I know that's easier said than done, but if you can look at dating as a way to just meet people, other humans on this planet, and enjoy their company. If you can just see it that way and just enjoy it in like a lighthearted way, then you can be yourself. I don't know. I feel like eventually you'll attract someone to you.
Yeah. You know, the last time we Skyped, you said that you were able to date more freely and had less just strain on it when you learn to just think of dating as just kind of it's more like friendships, or think of it that way. You know, this is just another person you're connecting with, and you know, and getting to know, and whatever comes along, you know. And that's what I mean when like for me, like I over romanticize a lot, so it's just like I need to find this and that, it needs to be ABC, and these, you know, like a certain outcome and whatnot, and it's constricting and suffocating, you know. So thank you for your advice last time and this time too. It definitely changed my perspective.
Yeah, you're welcome. You know, and it makes me think like we shouldn't be trying to like put people into a mold that we create for them.
Yeah.
You know, we want to love them for who they are, and we want them to authentically love us. So like, I wouldn't force relationships, and I wouldn't think of yourself as a burden. Those are my 2 words.
Yeah, and I think that's so big because I struggle with that, you know, at times too, or especially when things get rough. I like blame myself, you know. So thank you for that, Danny. I appreciate it. Okay, Valeria. So what was the question? Do you have any advice for those who are living with paralysis that long for love and connection and are seeking romantic relationships or eventually marriage?
Yeah, absolutely. Still the same advice.
Yeah.
So don't feel like a burden. You're not a burden. And that's the first point. So yes, we have chairs or disabilities, whatever that is. But I think I don't think they define us, and they're not going to define us in a relationship. Um, I don't think that's the reason why people would choose to go out with us or to dump us.
Yeah.
In the end, we can have the same relationship. It's more the projection of us that can cause an issue. And I see when you say I blame myself, I do that. I think we all do a little bit of that. And of course, for us, it's easy to blame our disability, while maybe we should blame something else, like I snapped too much, or
Yeah.
I don't do things that he likes, or she, whoever that is. And that's probably the reason why we're not, why things go to an end or are more complicated. While we tend to think all the time that it's because of our wheelchair, it's because of the paralysis, it's because of that. And I think that's a mistake, but it's in our mind. It's a mindset that
Yeah.
we tend to build. It's a protection, maybe also.
Yeah.
It's easier to blame something that it's not our character. That's also in marriage. I mean, that's also what happens in a marriage, right?
Yeah.
That's what also Danny was saying before. Like, we have the right to snap, or to be upset or frustrated. Often the frustration will maybe come from a situation where we want to do something and we cannot. So it will originate from the disability sometimes.
Yeah.
But in the end, the things that count is the relationship with the other person, is the way you treat the others. And I think there's plenty of people that can be friends or lovers outside.
Yeah.
That you'll have to find the one that's really the one that fits you.
Yeah. At the end of the
And
day, it's like our needs. It just boils down to needs and what works for us, right?
yes, but the paralysis, the wheelchair, the disability shouldn't be the reason why you feel you cannot date, because that's wrong. That's not true.
Yeah.
It's there's so much more than that.
Yeah. Completely agreed. Thank you so much for that. I love your perspective, and now I'll always hear your voice when you say no. Don't think of yourself as a burden whenever I feel that way. Thank you. So before I go to the next topic, oh, sorry, did you have something to say?
No, I
Okay.
just said that's cool.
So before I go to the next topic, I would like to read the live chat to you girls, and because it's cracking right now, there's a lot. So, adoptive parent logged in to say hi, and there's Sonia, Nicole, Alessandra. Everyone's saying that these are such great questions, and they agree with what you guys were saying, and a lot of people understand the pain of having to hear that that the partners being praised for being a partner instead of seeing our accountability and our capability, despite our disability. And so let's see. Oh, and Brianna says preach queens. And Brad Allgood says hi, Danny and Valeria. I'm not sure if you know who that is.
Brad was one of the.
Oh, Brad, hi.
He's one of the cinematographers of Danny's
Oh.
twins film, which Valeria is in the film. So
Hello.
Brad went over to her house to film her too. So
Oh, cool. Hi,
Cool.
Brad. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. So we'll go to the next topic right now, and I think everyone is excited to know about this. Pregnancy experience. Were your twins conceived with or without any alternative assistance? So we'll start with Danny.
It was just a surprise. They're called spontaneous multiples. I didn't have any. I didn't have IVF. I didn't have any history of twins in my family. I didn't have really anything that would indicate I would have twins, except maybe my age, because I think when I conceived I was 34. I'm now 35. So I think 35 and up is when you get more chance of having spontaneous twins. So yeah, that was a shock.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Especially as a quad, like I was so bent on preparing for one baby. I was like, I got this. I'm gonna be like the most independent quad mom ever.
Yeah.
I had all these plans. I had all this stuff I was gonna buy. Like I had it all lined up.
Yeah.
And as usual, life throws you curveballs.
I was just gonna say that's probably one of the biggest curveballs.
Yeah, it was a huge curveball, and I was like, well, guess I'm just gonna play it by ear.
Yeah. Yeah. But it seems like you got everything down, like, you know. And did you get like assistance through the community and stuff like that as well?
No.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
No, I did not have. It was my intention to have a lot more help.
Mm-hmm.
But they, you know, like I had them in April 2020, so it was right when people were really like locking down, going into quarantine, not coming out of their houses. Like we didn't know what was going on. We were paranoid. We were scared. Rudy was trying his best to like protect me and protect the babies were born really premature with underdeveloped lungs. You know, my lungs as a quadriplegic suck. So, you know, my plans, I was going to hire a mother's assistant. I insisted on calling this person a mother's assistant. I didn't want to be considered a nanny or a babysitter. I wanted this person to be someone who was helping me do my mom job rather than taking it over. But we didn't want to bring anyone into the home after that. So we had to figure it out. And luckily, Rudy started working from home, and I've always worked from home, and that kind of helped us. I mean, it was completely juggling it all, but also like, they were premature and they slept a lot.
Oh,
so
okay.
It wasn't that terrible.
Yeah.
For the first month and a half. The hardest thing was breastfeeding.
Oh.
But in terms of like juggling stuff, it wasn't too bad because they were just really sleepy preemies.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh. That's surprising because, you know, I do hear stories that sometimes, you know, preemies can be fussy, but I guess it all, you know, ranges. I'm glad it worked out for you.
Yeah, no, and in that way I was lucky because my babies always slept well, and they weren't very fussy. So it can be a completely different story if the kids don't sleep.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. So, Valeria, were your twins conceived with or without any alternative assistance?
Yes. So we did IVF. We tried to conceive naturally for about a year.
Yeah.
And of course, I thought again it was my disability, my age. So we went to see an OBGYN, do the exams, and found out that my husband had an issue. So we had to go through IVF. That was our only way. So the funny thing actually is that we saw several doctors. We did our research, and we ended up choosing the doctor that really told us, because of my disability, that I shouldn't have implanted. They will usually implant like 2 or 3 embryos to have more chances for at least one to take. But in my case, because of my disability and multiple pregnancies are very high risk, they were like, no, we found a doctor that was very serious and conservative and said, no, I will implant only 1 embryo. You might go through the cycle more times, but at least for sure you're gonna have only 1 baby and not more. And of course, I was destined to twins. So I implanted only 1 embryo, but I had the spontaneous split. I split the embryo, so that's why I have identical twins.
Yeah.
I really wanted more than 1, and that was funny because the doctor was like, "Oh my gosh." He called the lab. When they found out, it was funny because he called the lab assistant
Yeah.
to show. He asked me first, of course, but to show that I had twins because
Yeah.
she had apparently the embryo, the magic,
Yeah.
and actually I did the magic, but I did the magic inside me, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna show you that the same person can have multiples, and it's gonna be awesome. So
Yeah. Wow, that's
IVF for one, not for two. I really planned everything. Like Danny, we were serious. We're like, okay, we're gonna plan it well. We're gonna have one. We're not gonna take any chance to have more than one.
yeah.
And we got two.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the end, it's a blessing, right? They're so
Oh
cute.
yeah. I think I would have liked 3 or 4. I mean, they're perfect.
Yeah.
I tell him sometimes I wish, because the OBGYN, when he found out, he was looking for the third one.
Yeah.
And we had like this hysterical laugh where because she just said we had 2. I was like, no, we don't have 2. I'm sure we put one embryo. It's like, no, there's 2. Because this one actually had 2 OBGYN, the high risk one and the one that did the IVF.
Yeah.
So the one that found out about the second twin was the one, the high risk one. That wasn't she. While the guy of the IVF, he was sure he had just 1 embryo in. That was 1 kid.
Yeah.
And then we went to the other one, and she was like, no, there's 2. I'm like, no, there's 1. It's like, no, 2. I'm like, not possible. It's like, yeah, don't say anything. I'm looking for the third one. I'm like, what?
Oh
Wait.
my gosh.
Didn't find the third one.
Yeah. Well, I
In the
mean,
end,
that must have been so shocking, which leads us to our next question. Since we're on it, what emotions came over you when you learned that you were having twins?
Shock. Like, I just said, I think I said, are you shitting me, to the radiologist. Like, I definitely said something inappropriate, but I didn't even know what I was saying because I was just so shocked. Well, what happened was, actually, Rudy saw the screen before the technician looked up at it. Like, she had the sonogram or ultrasound wand on my belly, and she hadn't looked up at the screen yet. And Rudy looks at it and he goes, like, all innocent, he's like, what are those 2 things? Like, why are there those 2 things? And she just, like, whips her head over and looks at it, and then she looks at me and she just does this, like, she didn't even say. She just gave me this hilarious, like, the funniest. She's, you're in for it. Like, she's like, and I look back at Rudy, I look back at her, I was like, you're shitting me.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. I mean, were you like, I'm sure fear, like, did fear come over you?
Well, yeah, I mean, first I was like, no, I was just, the first feeling after shock was like, oh my gosh, this is the biggest gift ever.
Oh, okay. Oh.
The best present ever.
Yeah.
Like, we felt so special. Like, we felt so blessed. And then I was like, oh gosh, like, what am I gonna do? But and then I've even felt like, in terms of my injury, like, I deserve this. Like, this is amazing. Like, I've gone through so many hard times becoming quadriplegic, and at the beginning was so difficult, and like this immense joy from having a baby, 2 babies. It doesn't even matter the number. 1, 2. Who cares?
Yeah.
But like, just the whole thing. It like, for me as a woman, has been extremely joyful, and I've never known this feeling before. And you don't know it until you get there, I think.
This just gives me baby fever, and like, I've never felt this way before. I'm telling you, I don't feel this way until I talk to the both of you, and you guys just show me what's possible. Oh, I'm getting emotional. I don't know. It's just, I go through life kind of like with so much fear, and you try to play it safe after you're injured, and you work so hard to believe in yourself, and you feel like this injury like robs you of so many things. But Valeria just constantly reminds me that just right before the show that you can do and be whatever you please in this life, and it's her motto. And I appreciate these stories so much. Sorry, I'm crying again. But yeah, thank you, Danny, for sharing that. Okay, Valeria. Oh my gosh, what question am I even on?
I remember.
What was it? Oh yeah.
Reaction.
I'm sorry. What question am I on?
Sorry. Go ahead.
What emotions came over you when you discovered that you were having twins?
Yeah. I was super happy.
Yeah.
I had this hysterical laugh, me and Alex, and yeah, we thought she was kidding, but we didn't know her very well because we had these two OBGYNs. She was just the second time I think it was the second time I saw her, so she seemed pretty serious. So I was like, she's kidding, but she wasn't kidding. You could really tell because she's great, but she's serious. She doesn't kid. So like, I told you were saying no, it's impossible, but we were laughing and the feeling was like happiness, like euphoria, like like the best gift ever, like wow. Especially because I didn't like, and I think I told Danny this, I didn't like when I saw the doctors the 6 months before when we found out we needed to go through IVF, and I was like, damn, that's gonna be hard. And then because of the age, they were like, oh, you might need to do it so many times, and so I thought that this implanting only one embryo was maybe like a long. I was very lucky. I did a lot of eggs. I got pregnant on the first essay, so it was a very easy thing in the end. But when I found out about the twins, I was like, wow, I just won the lottery. I got 2 babies in one shot.
Yeah.
So I was super happy. And then, of course, I guess my husband maybe afterwards a little bit more fear because like, oh my God, what we're going to do? Yeah. He's trying to, bring me down. Like, we are expecting twins. You understand that, right?
Yeah.
And I was just
bring you down.
And then, I mean, like you said, life is hard. For us, it's harder. I think there's people that have a harder lives than us. Yeah. But there's people that have easier, and our life seemed easier before the injury for sure. And then it took like a weird turn, and we're lucky to be back on track. But when plans change, I think we have this capacity of adapting.
Yeah.
That it's amazing.
Yeah.
And we know how to kick in that. So you want to have a baby and you're already super lucky to have a baby. I agree, 1, 2, 3, whatever. I mean, it's already the best gift ever. Yeah. Then you get 2 and you're like, that's even a bigger gift, and I'm going to adapt. I'm going to find my way.
Yeah.
Because we can do it. We've done way worse than that. I mean, this is babies. It's a cool thing.
Yeah.
It's not lying in a bed without being able to feel or move.
You're so right.
That's where you...
Yeah. You're so right.
I think this is the good part. You just have to plan how to do with babies, but you have kids.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. You're so right. Thank you. Thank you for that. And so what symptoms did you experience or struggle with during pregnancy? Like nausea, pain, dizziness?
All of it.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure.
My big one, so yeah, the big ones for me were 24/7 morning sickness. And I think part of that is because higher levels of HCG when you have multiples, so it's like you have more hormones going, so you tend to feel more sick. So I was kind of bedridden for like the first trimester. And I started feeling better, but then my blood pressure was really low. Oh. Really low. And then it got worse because I became anemic. Mm-hmm. So that's what I struggled with the most. But like I've already dealt with low blood pressure, especially at the beginning of my injury. I was like blacking out all the time. And
Oh,
so
wow.
I knew already what I needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrible. You just have to get through it. And I knew I had to lie down and position my legs and drink water and rest after eating. And it was hard, but
Yeah.
temporary and worth it.
Was there anything you like did to that would help with the nausea, pain, aside from like just water and?
I was afraid to like take medications. I was just trying to be really natural and not,
Mm-hmm.
I went off all my meds except for my blood pressure medication. I stayed on that
Mm-hmm.
because actually I think it would be safer for the babies for me to be on it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I wasn't really doing much. I think I used like acupressure bands to try to stop nausea, but that didn't really help very much. Just a lot of resting and eating ice cream. But it was hard. It was hard on my body.
Yeah.
And postpartum has been challenging. I think that's a part we tend to forget about.
Yeah. I was that's gonna be eventually like one of the questions, but before we get to that, thank you for sharing that, Danny. And let me see. Oh, sorry, someone's knocking. Okay. Sorry. Back to you, Valeria. What symptoms did you struggle with during your pregnancy, like nausea, pain, or dizziness?
Yeah, all of the above. like yeah, like Danny said, when you only expect multiple, so you even get more nausea, which is normal. So that first trimester is a little intense. Like you're really like sick all the time. I didn't really throw out, but I like get nausea, so I had to like lie down. I it's just a lot of discomfort. But I mean, you know why you have it, and so again, you have a goal, right?
Yeah.
That baby, and that makes you go through everything. So it's not that it's like it's not that bad.
Oh.
And I have low blood pressure, so that was an issue. Passed out a few times, but then I learned to be more careful, measure it, all that kind of things. And I had a kind of complicated pregnancy, so I had to be in bed rest.
Yeah.
I had massive bleeding, subchorionic hematoma, it's called. It's apparently the uterus growing up very fast. In first pregnancies with multiples especially, it can happen. And I was getting I think it's called Lovenox, anticoagulant, and so that was a little of a problem because I had this bleeding internal, which we didn't find out right away.
Yeah.
So that put me at bed rest. I mean, everything was fine, but because of this bleeding that stopped eventually, I had to stay in bed for the rest of the pregnancy. So the issues were, am I gonna have pressure sores? My legs are swollen. Put them up. Do the therapy in bed. So that was a little bit of a complication.
Yeah.
A little bit, but again, I would do it again.
Wow.
So
Oh my God. Wow. That's
yeah.
The sacrifices that you guys went through just for your children is like it's amazing.
But I think that like lots of women do.
Yeah.
Independently. I mean, I have friends that have been at bed rest and they have no disabilities, no other things. That there's a lot of miscarriages, natural. So
Yeah.
you take that into account when you get pregnant. You might be lucky and get everything going well. Of course, me and Dani are maybe not the best examples because we have multiple pregnancies, so we had a few issues. In my case, I mean, everything was doing fine. Beside that, if I didn't have that bleeding, I would have been better. I didn't have to. But once I had the bleeding and it was at 2.5 months pregnant, of course, the thing was stay in bed because you don't want to risk, and I didn't want to take any risk.
Yeah.
So I was very serious about that.
Yeah.
And Of course, the diabetes, I got the gestational diabetes towards
Oh,
the
yeah.
end. But then I delivered early because of the kids having a syndrome of sharing blood internal. So I had a shorter
Gotcha.
pregnancy, which in the end was good. No,
Yeah.
I don't know. I recommend to go to 9 months,
Yeah.
but decided to stay in bed for 9 months. I stayed in bed for 4.
Gotcha. Well, I'm glad everything's okay, and I'm glad the babies are safe.
I, I would do it again.
Yeah, you seem like you have the strength to do it again, and you seem like you're ready almost. Okay.
I don't know about that.
Okay, maybe not.
Because
Um, what route did you take in order to deliver? Was it difficult, painful?
So for me, with multiples, it's kind of like a different ball game. Like and this is for women without disabilities too. So with multiples, there's a much higher chance that they come early, that you go through preterm labor. So that was something that I was kind of expecting. I ended up doing my baby shower way early. I I tried to plan a lot of things earlier because I knew there was a very high chance that they would come early.
Yeah.
And mine came at 34 weeks, which is actually not too bad. Like it's a good time because they're still can be quite healthy even at that young gestational age. So they actually, they only, or let's see, full term. What's full term? 40 weeks? 40, 42? I don't know. Oh my gosh.
42.
Yeah, 40. So their plan with me was to induce me at 38 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted, ideally, they were shooting for a natural vaginal birth.
Yeah.
We knew that was highly unlikely because the twins, like they turn around, they move positions. So that was like our overall goal, and we kept our sight on that, but we also knew that we had to be flexible, that something else could happen.
Yeah.
And we knew it was likely.
Yeah.
So I ended up going into preterm labor.
Yeah.
And I ended up having the first baby was upside down. So they had to give me an emergency C-section, meaning they had to get her out quickly because she was coming out the wrong way.
Oh, no.
And, the problem with that is that it can endanger the other baby.
Yeah.
So sometimes when people talk about high risk, they don't realize that it doesn't just mean high risk to the mother. It means high risk to the baby or babies.
Yeah.
Anyway, the C-section went great. Like they gave me a spinal tap. I was awake the whole time. I didn't feel a thing. I felt better during my C-section than I do on like a regular day.
That's crazy.
I didn't have any pain.
Yeah. But I did read on one of your posts that you had like some dysreflexia.
Yeah, afterwards especially. I did have dysreflexia once the meds wore off, the spinal wore off.
Yeah.
And I think it was just from the pain from the operation.
Yeah.
I had a pretty bad bout of dysreflexia, which, as we know, that can be controlled with pain medication, the reason I didn't want to take anything heavy was because I was afraid that it would slow down my gut, and as quads, we know what can happen if you get bowel issues.
Yeah.
That can just it can just compound the problems.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to work with my nurses to help me in certain positions that I knew would help lower my blood pressure naturally. And it was very hard to convince them that my methodology works.
Yeah.
Because they saw it as an emergency. Okay, her blood pressure is 200 over something.
Yeah.
And I saw it as, no, if everyone calm down, like take these steps, and you'll see that my blood pressure will start to lower. They wanted to send me to ICU, and I was like, heck no, no,
Yeah.
that'll make breathing worse. So that was stressful. I had to fight for a bit.
Yeah. I read
It all
about
worked
that.
out. And I saw my twins in the NICU 24 hours later.
Yay. I think that's amazing. I'm so big on standing our ground and advocating for ourselves. So when I read your post after you gave birth, I was really relieved because I think we all know the push and pull of being our own, advocating for our own care and against the professional. Like they're taught a certain way, but we're with our body every day, so we know what our technique is, we know what our method is, and we know our body well to kind of guide people. So I'm really glad you were able to stand your ground and you know advocate for yourself. And I'm so glad you're safe and healthy too. So yay! Okay, thank you for sharing that, Danny. So what route did you take in order to deliver Valeria? Was it difficult or painful?
I also had the emergency C-section in a different way though, meaning that, of course, I knew it was like I told you, I was already a bed rest, so I knew it was a complicated pregnancy, and not only again for my disability, but because of the twins, because all the issue I had was because of the twin pregnancies.
Yeah.
And so they had this twin-to-twin transfusional syndrome, I think that's the name, which only happens in identical twins sharing the same placenta, where they share blood between each other instead of sharing blood with the mom only. And they found out about this at my 28 weeks appointment. And that's very dangerous. That's a lethal condition for mom and babies. So I went there. They were like, oh, well, there are 3 people in the room, and they moved me to the hospital in front. It was very fast. It's like, wait, I'm not ready.
Oh, wow.
Very quick chat. I had this huge belly. Actually, my belly was kind of swollen, very big, because you keep a lot of liquids in it. And so I thought it was the 3rd trimester because I was just starting. And so I was like, damn, this 3rd trimester, it's really hard.
Yeah.
You're really big. And I actually found out that I had several, like a gallon and something extra liquids in my belly because they couldn't process the liquid properly, the babies. So this happens in like 15% or 20% of the identical twin pregnancies with one placenta. So they told me about that, but it usually happens before. But we found out late, so we had to do the emergency C-section. I had to stay 5 days in the hospital before to prepare the twins. So they gave me a lot of cortisone and stuff like that. So that was the painful part. Yeah. Because they gave me a lot of meds, and they gave me some magnesium, which is very important for the babies. And that I had complication with the breathing. I actually, when we delivered, I had the oxygen. It was really bad. So the funny thing is, as soon as I had the C-section, which was great because I had also the spinal tap, so I could see there and everything. And I was of course, very worried because it was very early. They were just 29 weeks at the moment when they had to do the C-section. So that was traumatic to have premature babies because of course, there's a lot of complication with that.
Yeah.
But once I had the C-section, all the symptoms went away. I could again breathe. I could again, all these things that I had before. So everything that led to this delivery just disappeared.
Yeah.
So that I still had to stay in the ICU, unfortunately. And that was awful. So I was very happy when I saw that Donnie fought for not going in the ICU. I thought that was extremely smart, and I couldn't do that because I was with the oxygen for 3 days before, so there was no but I was fine. I seriously, I was like, I can go, I can see them, and I had to wait 42 hours, so almost 2 days, and it was the longest and hardest. So even 24 hours for Dania, I know it must have been a torture, because you don't want to wait a second, and waiting hours, it's huge. And
Yeah.
so that was my, yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But body adapts very well.
Yeah,
Once
clearly.
you're
Yeah.
disabled or not disabled, things get back, and then, well, like every pregnancy after, there's a lot of legal issue that I have to settle in,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Wow.
that's
Well,
my.
well, I'm
So
glad you're
don't
okay as
get
well.
scared. So that's like an extreme experience.
Yeah.
It's very common.
Yeah. I'm
Only
really
if
glad
you
you both are like able to like your body sounds like it went through a lot, and you know, and I'm glad you guys were able to tolerate it, because I'm pretty sure they tell you often that it's high risk and whatnot for our situation.
You mean us?
As like living with paralysis, do they tell us? Did they tell
Oh, all the
you?
time. Yes,
Yeah.
all the time.
So, if I can jump in real quick, because I don't want to scare
Yeah,
the
me neither. Sorry,
with
Yeah.
paralysis in here, because multiple pregnancy is high risk
Mhm.
for anyone. What my doctor told me, which was really interesting, was that the high riskness of the multiples pregnancy was more of a concern than the fact that I was a quadriplegic.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's for the babies. The real risk is because you're having two babies. It's not. I mean, we are high risk in general. I mean, for COVID, for many things. So also for pregnancies, because our breathing is not 100%, or very far from that, and there's issues with the dysreflexia, blood pressure.
Yeah.
But that is not the reason why I had all those issues.
Yeah.
It was because I have these twins, and because they were identical twins, they had this syndrome. So it's really the high risk is because you're having multiples there.
Gotcha.
And then, of course, I had other issues, like for me, staying in bed without being able to exercise my legs. That makes it more high risk, because you have to have someone moving your legs.
Yeah.
But that's really not the hard part.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I don't know. It's not the high risk is for the babies.
Yeah. Gotcha. Well, you guys heard it from them. Like, it's not completely, our injury, and the risk is when you have twins, So that gives all of us hope, and to.
Yeah, sorry, it sounded very bad now when I
Yeah,
listened
no,
to
not
it.
at all,
It's really, it's more
This
like
is twin
for
pregnancies.
multiple things. It's
Yeah.
not because of my disability at all.
Gotcha. Okay, so that we'll go to the next topic. Since we're running kind of over time, I'm gonna choose like a few questions from each category. I don't know, how much time we all have left, but I guess, what made you sure you wanted to have children and capable of providing as someone living with paralysis? Danny?
Yeah, I wasn't sure actually since I wasn't sure, I wasn't sure I wanted to lose my independence. That was my whole thing.
Yeah.
And also I was like, how am I going to take care of a baby if I can't take care of myself? Like all these things you repeat to yourself that are not really grounded on anything because you haven't been there and you haven't experienced it. So I was just guessing. And I also thought like, I didn't know if I wanted to let go of that independence yet. But I'm also, in my 30s, and as a woman, like the biological clock starts ticking.
Yeah.
It was intense. And so what I did was I went to visit a high-risk obstetrician and just ask her questions. And I told her about all my anxieties, and I asked her questions about like how I would handle pregnancy. And I was lucky because I know a lot of people have bad experiences with doctors.
Yeah.
But she was so encouraging, and she said that basically what we've been talking about, like, it doesn't matter if a woman is disabled or not. Like, pregnancy can be risky for anyone. And spinal cord injury, like there's a couple other things that you have to be mindful of, but they can be, there's care methods to counteract the complications that can arise from spinal cord injury.
Yeah.
So once it felt safe to me, then I was like, then I got excited and it planted like a little seed in my head. And we waited a couple months and then we're like, let's just go for it.
Yeah.
And married, settled down, bought a house, like I feel pretty fixed. So I was like, why not?
This just gives me so much hope to hear these things, That makes me so happy to hear, like the anxiety factor of it, because those are thoughts that I've had too. So, what was it called? A high risk, like OBGYN?
So I would you don't have to go to a high risk obstetrician just because you have spinal cord injury. I know plenty of women that haven't, but I would recommend having a consultation with one.
Yeah.
First of all, they usually have a way better bedside manner with people with disabilities because they work with them all the time.
Yeah.
They're usually board certified maternal fetal medicine specialists.
Gotcha.
That's what they're called. So they're like more specialized obstetrician. Yeah. And they deal with cases of women who are pregnant with fetuses or babies that have genetic conditions and disabilities, and women that have chronic illness and disabilities and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So like disability is like part of their everyday job. So I think they're going to be way more open-minded and knowledgeable.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with me. And that gives me peace of mind and gives me, an idea of what to look for in the future. Okay, Valeria, what made you sure you wanted to have children and are capable of providing as someone living with paralysis?
I was trying to remember. I don't think I ever doubted that.
Mm-hmm.
Like having kids, maybe. I've always been more an animal person, dog person, horse person, whatever animal person. So not really into kids as a young adult or as a teenager or whatever. I had friends that were a lot into babies and kids and doing babysitting. I wasn't. Then of course with the injury, I didn't think about doing babysitting anymore.
Yeah.
But so that kind of a fear of kids, just because I didn't know kids.
Oh.
So that kind of fear, like, am I gonna be good?
Yeah.
But I'm a good dog mom, so I thought I would be a good kid mom.
Wow.
Human.
No,
I
that's
come
such
from
good perspective. That makes so sense, because, honestly, I didn't have a savings account until I got my dog when he ate my baclofen pill. It was $2,000 to bring him in. And I was like, dude, if he needs any operation in the future, I'm screwed. So, like, I've been stacking money thanks to that little rent, So, can you imagine me, like, when I have, like, kids, So, wow, thank you. Oh, I love your perspective. I can see why she's one of your favorite people, Danny. Oh, my gosh, she's my favorite already. Oh, my gosh.
So, yeah. That's that kind of fear only, will I be able to be with a kid, and I actually am, especially when they're yours. I mean, when you see them and you have them, you're just in love with them, and so they can actually do whatever they want. They can chew on my pillow, and no, I would a little bit sometimes, but not really. You can't.
Yeah.
So, just didn't really doubt my body.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have, but no, because it did great.
Yeah.
So I recommend though the high risk OBGYN just for the same reason as Danny, because they have been working with a lot of people. So they do all the multiple pregnancies. In my case, I had to go to her because I had both. I had the multiple pregnancy, which you need a high risk, and then I had also the spinal cord injury.
Yeah.
But see that she was very. It's nice to to have someone in front of you that just knows the situation and is not gonna do weird comments or.
Yeah, it's more encouraging and kind of helps the journey a lot better. Okay.
But I mean, our bodies are great. I don't think there's any real fear about how your body's going to react to pregnancies.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's really the point.
Yeah, I feel like the women's body is so like resilient too. It's such a beautiful and amazing
Absolutely.
vessel. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, this
I
is
love that.
exhibit A. Yeah. Huh. You guys are definitely, your body is definitely resilient. It's amazing. I'm so blown away. Um,
And we are resilient. We're built to be resilient. We're built
yeah,
to
to procreate and, you know,
procreate,
yeah.
so no fear there.
Yeah, exactly. So do you think motherhood and raising children is solely providing on a physical level?
Definitely not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely not. I think physical touch is important.
Yeah.
That's a different thing. It's a different, like, there are so many physical tasks I can't do.
Yeah.
And I was thinking lately about how sometimes we see this narrative of people with disabilities overcoming, and they can they can still do stuff a different way, and they're still independent, and they can do this and that, and they're going to prove you wrong. And I'm like, okay, but I still can't do that stuff, and I just designate it to other people. Like, my husband does it, or whoever's here helping does it. And there are a lot of like those day-to-day chores and things with the babies that just somebody else needs to do. Like, I have a really hard time, like, I can't pick them up and put them on my lap, or put them from my lap onto into their crib, or things like that. Like, I just can't. So I constantly need, I'm constantly calling Rudy or my dad, and my mother-in-law, and we all just, we all pitch in, and it's really healthy for the girls. Like, it's so great for them to be around different people and have this tribe taking care of them, and not just me. And so I look at it as a good thing. And what they need most from me as a mother is my love and guidance. That's all. And I do work a job full time, and I put money on the table, so that's the other thing.
It's just beyond that, and I love this that you said it's like, it is a tribe baby, and I think I have such this ingrained mentality in my mind where I did say that if I couldn't hold my child the way I wanted to, like pick it up or carry it, like I didn't want to be a mom in this lifetime, but the more I observed you guys I swear, like, my mind has changed so much ever since I've met you guys, and I feel like there's just so much to being a mom. And I thought about how the things that my mom instilled in me to help me be who I am today, and I feel like what I teach my child internally, like about self-love and just being a kind person, and the lessons you instill in them sometimes go further than like the physicality of things, so
and we can still like cuddle. We cuddle all the time. It's that physical touch is totally doable. My husband just puts the babies on me when I'm in bed, like I have a pile of babies on me. I'm sure, Valeria, you experienced that too. So it's not like a lot of able-bodied shamers will be like, oh, that's so sad, like she can't even hug her children. Yes, you can.
There's many ways
to. You move your arms or hands at all. Yes, you can still touch each other, touch cheeks, touch elbows, shoulders. It's silly. Just because you can't do like household tasks and domestic chores doesn't mean you're an incapable mom.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, thank you, Danny. So Valera, what's it called? Do you think motherhood is raising, children solely on a physical level?
No, absolutely not. No.
Yeah.
I mean, the touch, of course, you have that, but it's emotional. First of all, it's love. It's the way you love your kids, your babies. It's that unconditional love that you give them.
Yeah.
And that's something that a mom is a mom, whatever kind of disability or limitation call it however you want. It's just, it doesn't change anything. It's hard for us because we have limits in the physical. So you want to change diaper, you can't, or it takes you forever to change one diaper. So it's not really a good thing, because you maybe have to breastfeed. I breastfed the twins, so I that was intense. It's super hard, but you find your things that you do with the babies, and you find the things you're good at, even like buying clothes, organizing the schedule, who's gonna take care of the baby at what time, who's gonna prepare the food, all these things. That's also being a mom. Physical part, like the actual physical part, hugging, loving, all that you do anyway. So I it's just
another layer.
It's important to have someone doing it for you. So yes, I mean, I don't want to take anything away from the amazing dads that I'm lucky to have here, and Donnie as well. So a great job, but there's a lot more. Being a mom, it's just another, it's a 360 thing. And provide, again, I bring also my money on the table. So that makes me feel better, but I don't think it would, I didn't always. So I don't think that's the main part as well, really. I mean, being a mom, it's already a huge job. So you bring even more than money on the table. So.
Exactly. Being a mom, there's something that, like, it's not something money can buy, there's not enough money that pays enough to be a mom.
Real job. It's 24/7, not for real.
Exactly. And it's funny that you say, I don't want to take any credit from the amazing dad. In my mind, because I grew up with a single mom, I keep thinking in my mind that I'm doing this by myself. Like, I'm not going to create a baby by myself, but I think, like, the fear is there, and I'm stuck on it.
You're not really going to be by yourself. There's going to be your mom. There's going to be
there's always somewhere else.
I mean, it's a tribe. It's always like this. I think. I feel that too.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. So I want to know just a little short description about the contrasting personalities between your twins.
Okay, so there's still only 9 months, so I'm only starting to see some differences. But so they're starting to make sounds. They're not really doing words yet, so they make completely different sounds. And I don't even know where they learn these sounds. They're not even like alphabet sounds. They're like clicks and trills and just like all this weird stuff. It's so funny. So they each have their unique sounds, and one of them is a really messy eater, and one is like very clean when she eats food. And one is just loud.
That's probably Rudy's genes.
Like rambunctious and kind of more like Rudy, and one I think is kind of more a little bit more like me, maybe. But they're changing constantly, so who knows? And Valeria has her twins. Like,
I'm excited.
They go back and forth between their characteristics. So.
Okay. Valeria, can you give us a shorter description of the twins?
Yeah, they keep changing. So it's actually very amazing to watch and see how they just blossom. So, and they keep, I can't say they switch personality, but you can see the difference. They're very different, but they're actually also both very kind and very smart and fun and outgoing. So then maybe there's one who takes things a little more, one like they're both very active. So one is maybe more agile. I don't know, he would do things more easy. The other one is more like strong and would do things in a more like powerful way. And it's fun to see sometimes which one wins. But it's just kind of an attitude maybe that they have, these kind of differences, but they're Yeah, they definitely, they're 100% different, but it's hard to describe the difference.
Yeah.
Meaning, important things in the end for me is that they grow up happy, outgoing,
Yeah.
and they both have this. So they're very different, though. You can definitely tell if that's something that Damon would do or Trent would do, because one is a little more centered on himself, the other one is a little more trying to do whatever you tell him to do, and his brother's like, no, I don't want to do that, I'm not interested. So they have this kind of difference, but then that's now. 4 months ago it was a little different, so who
Yeah.
knows, maybe months they're gonna,
Yeah, they're ever so changing.
they grow up together. It's twins, it's also brothers, but
Yeah.
so the way that they differentiate is also due to their interaction.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing, it's because they are together that they're so different.
Yeah.
Because they take parts and they
Yeah.
play these roles and they switch them.
Yeah. That's so
I love
fascinating.
it. It's fun.
I'm so excited to like see the developing personality, especially you too, Danny. Like, it's just fascinating to watch like personalities develop. But when you look back on pictures and videos, you're like, I see it there too, and they were so tiny, you know. My thing is always like, do personalities develop? Are they like innate? Are they born with it? That's always like my question, you know.
I think there's a little bit of that,
Yeah.
but also there's a lot they pick up on the way
Yeah.
through the journey of life, you
Yeah.
know?
Influence.
From
Okay.
the biological point of view, it's a lot of interaction with the environment around them.
Oh, okay.
Which, I mean, DNA counts.
Yeah.
That's the base, but it's the interaction that they have around them that would like develop
Yeah.
them in one direction or the other, which
Yeah.
which is important for us as parents.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, by the way, she's what are you, geneticist or molecular biologist or
Yeah,
something?
that's why I was just like, oh, I'm going with your
Yeah.
answer.
That was my thing before I decided I needed another job.
Yeah. Before I go to the next topic, someone in the chat said that they're C4 quadriplegic, and she had a 2-year-old son at the time, and she was able to do it. And a lot of people, you know, were so sure and told her she couldn't do it, you know. So good job to her. And she was wondering how breastfeeding was for you both. She was told that as a C4 quadriplegic at that level, she wasn't able to breastfeed if she wanted to have a child again. Is that true? Ooh, Valeria was like, nope. Nope. Here you go, Lily.
Don't listen. No, I shouldn't say that. No, I listen to the doctors as well, but no. So they told me a lot of things as well. They told me I couldn't breastfeed. They told me that because I had to have them out because of their problem at 29 weeks, that was an issue because it's very difficult with premature babies to breastfeed. So because they get used to the bottle in the NICU.
Yeah.
I did it. I didn't have milk at the beginning, and you can train your body, and like we said, the body really adapts. So you can force it. You can actually even breastfeed without having a baby.
I heard about that.
Research that? Yeah, that's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
We wouldn't do that, but
Yeah.
you could. So I breastfed, I pumped, and I breastfed, and you can definitely do it with a C4, C5. You need help maybe to put the babies at first. You know, that's the hard part. When you put the baby, you need someone to put the mouth of the baby in the right spot. There's all the learning thing that if you don't have someone really dedicated near you or someone that tells you these things,
Yeah.
you don't know. I didn't know. It was my first baby as well.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part. You need help.
Yeah.
You will need help at the beginning at least.
Yeah.
Take the baby, put it on your breast, but once it's not your body the limit. It's not because you cannot produce milk. That's wrong.
Yep. There you go, Lily. You're able to as a C4 quadriplegic even if you need assistance. How about you, Danny? You were able to, right? For breastfeeding, were you able to?
So yeah, the spinal cord injury does not affect your milk production. I think I saw one research study that said it could, but everybody I know with paralysis has had, pretty normal milk production. The only time you have trouble producing milk is when it's supply and demand. So if there's no demand, your supply goes down, and it's really hard to get that supply back up.
Yeah.
And the only way to get it back up is by breastfeeding.
Gotcha.
But I had a really hard time because I had so many factors against me. I didn't have enough support. I couldn't access lactation consultant. I didn't have hands-on help with the breastfeeding like I needed, because I needed somebody to help me latch my premature babies. Again, they were premature, so that made it really hard. Not just because they spent time in NICU where they got used to the bottle, but also because the way they move their mouths and tongues is still not developed fully. So they're still learning, they're not like automatically know how to drink like from your breast. So that you have to kind of get them used to it. And then the other thing that was working against me was just biologically, like my body, like the shape of my body was fit with the shape of my baby's mouth. So I'm just gonna go beyond that.
Yeah.
But I just I wanted to so badly.
Yeah.
And I did. I tried. I tried as best I could. Then I had to start giving them formula. But I kept pumping.
Yeah.
And I kept pumping for 6 months. Sometimes I would feed them at the breast just to comfort them, but I couldn't really give them a full meal at that point.
Yeah.
Just because
Yeah.
because I didn't have a good start, it was really hard.
Yeah. It's just comfort.
Yeah. So, but I did what I could for 6 months, and I'm proud of what I did. And I did get a little breast milk, which was satisfying for me.
Yeah.
And it's not important to everyone, but
you do what you can,
Yes, you do what you can.
Yeah. There you go, Lily. I hope that answers your questions. So we'll move to the next two topics. Just briefly, let's see. Now that you've reached this point in life and understand yourself as well as the world around you a lot more, what are some of your fears for your children and your future as a mom living with paralysis? Danny?
I'm not worried about the paralysis, I don't think. Well, there's one thing. I'm afraid I'll be taken away from them too soon. Sorry, that's really heavy, but it is a fear I have.
Yeah.
And it is so important for me to really take care of my health now.
Yeah.
Because my purpose is to be there for my babies.
Yeah.
For as long as possible.
Yeah.
Even when they're adults, because they're still going to be my babies when they're adults. And so that's probably like my existential fear, And then after that, I'm not too concerned. They might get weird questions at school or whatever, but we'll figure it out. And yeah.
Gotcha.
That's fine. I'm done.
How about you, Valeria? Now that you've reached this point in life and you understand yourself and the world around you a lot more, what are some of your fears or for your children or your future as a mom living with her paralysis?
Not really for the paralysis. I mean, yes, I'm more apocalyptic.
I'm sorry?
My fear is more like an apocalypse kind of fear. I am very concerned about the environment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that was one of the thing that actually, the fear of having a baby, and one thing that I always put in mind was do I want to bring a baby in this world the way it's going? So that's like another topic.
Yeah.
But so it's more about pollution, climate change, plastic pollution.
Yeah.
Which is decided to fight with my small business and thing. So when you become a mom, you fear for the future of your kids. I think that's independent from disability, though. The disability is because I know if something like that happens, I'm one of the first one to go. And I mean, we see it now with COVID, right? There's a pandemic, and we're not a priority as disabled.
Yeah.
So I think that's gonna happen with everything. So if there's any bad things happening due to environment or other illness,
Yeah.
my fear would be to leave them earlier because of my paralysis, but it's not the disability itself. It's more
Yeah.
about what's happening in the world, and really striving to do the better I can for their future.
Yeah.
For them to have a good future.
Yep. It's like this year, you know, with the, I mean, last year, that's a big example with the pandemic. It was out of our control, and our environment, it changes, and it's out of our control, you know, and
Exactly. And I feel a little bit that we're the first to go. Not the first, but we're among the first to not being seen. So that's the only thing, but I fear for them. It's just them.
Yeah. Rightfully so.
I just want to be there for them.
Yeah, I know. We're doing the best we can, you know, and it's like
I guess we're supposed to.
I know, and I think that's one of the things that like kind of worry me as, you know, someone who wants to have children. You know, it's just no promises, but I don't want to live life in fear. That's why I look up to you girls, because you guys are fearless. You know, even if you do feel fear, I peg myself on conquering my fears and anxieties, but that's a whole nother level. So I commend you, and I'm just so in awe of both of you. And so thank you, Valera, for sharing that.
Oh, thank you.
We're gonna try to keep each other around as long as possible. You know, it's we're working together.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I have high goals as usual.
Yeah. No, I'm rooting for you. I have no doubt, you know. So in terms of disabled mom shaming, this topic gets me heated. Okay, let me go. As a mother living with paralysis, what are some mom shaming comments you have received, Danny? Like most like frustrating one, maybe. Let's just say her eye roll.
No. So I really haven't gotten that many. Which makes me really glad. I think things are changing. I think people are way more accepting and open. But you know, every once in a while, there's some comments on some of the media that has gone out because of the film that I'm involved in and all that. And of course, I cannot help looking at the comments. So you have to read the comments. They're so juicy.
They're so juicy.
Yeah, there's been a few that are just like, there was one where it was just like clips of me leading up to the birth.
Yeah.
I was in what's it called? Labor. I was in labor.
Yeah.
And then it cuts off like before I get there or something, I forget. But anyway, I'm obviously pregnant and about to have babies. And someone commented like, why are you having twins that you can't take care of? I'm like, too late, buddy. Like, they're coming. Like, they're literally about to pop out.
Yeah.
So, you know, let's say something a little more productive than that. I mean, why would I be having? It's such a demeaning thing to say. Like, as if I can't make decisions for myself. As if I don't know what I'm capable of. Like, I know how to take care of myself. I know. I'm an adult. Like, you don't get to tell me, you know, if I can or can't have twins or babies or a baby.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of an implication there that like I should have an abortion or something.
Oh my God.
Like, that's what I got out of it.
Yeah.
Well, what do you want me to do, you know?
Yeah.
It's natural. What do you want me to not have sex ever? There's just so many implications behind that statement.
Yeah.
That are very revealing of the ableism that still exists in our society. But I do think it's getting better. And I really haven't gotten that many bad comments. Just the few that I do get are so shocking that they stand out.
Yeah. You know, when you post these things, I'm just like, What do you think? Like, they don't just, you know, this thing is well thought out. They don't just like, hey, let's just, it doesn't just magically happen to, sometimes, yeah, maybe accidents do happen, but it's just, it's their body, let them handle it. And they're, again, like back to kind of like the marriage thing. It's like, don't you think we have a level of accountability before we just dive right in and have children, right? It's just, what are you thinking, but I mean, people understand from their level of like understanding and their level of experience. So unless they're disabled, I think they have less understanding and sometimes less empathy. And again, this is why our quadcast and our lives exist, so it kind of counters their misconception. So yeah, thank you, Danny. So Valeria, what's it called? As a mother living with paralysis, what are some mommy shaming comments that you've received? Or have you received any?
It's easier to do the mom shaming on medias.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to put the face. So I received some. I mean, well, these last 10 months being locked down, you don't get them.
Yeah.
They've been out we've been out with the kids for 3.5 years before the lockdown. And well, the things that bother me, I remember mostly would be people like doubting that they're my kids, or they're asking like, are they yours? Like it's something weird.
Yeah.
So kind of doubting of the fact that I'm a mom. So that, of course, I think it's related to my disability. I don't see why otherwise you would doubt that those are mine.
Yeah.
So that's a little annoying, but in general, I don't think people come up to me asking. I don't let them.
Yeah.
I look at people in the eyes, so you have to be very.
I was gonna say, I feel like you're a force to be reckoned with. Like, I wish they would come up and say something to you, right?
Not that anyway. And I try to anyway answer with a smile, and then maybe I'll be sad or cry later. It's not like it's not gonna hurt me, but I hardly give you the satisfaction of seeing that it's gonna hurt me. So yeah, I think mostly it's about doubting, and I had a bad experience with a mother assistant that thought she was just a nanny and talking. I remember talking that with Donnie. So she was taking care. She was actually helping me to take care of the babies when they were little.
Yeah.
And at home, and my husband went back to work, and I was alone. My family wasn't there, so they live overseas. So we hired this lady, and yeah, I didn't like it. I felt like she thought that because I couldn't hold them. She was always very careful at taking the baby a little too early.
Oh, yeah.
Or be afraid that I would drop the baby. I had this feeling that she was very, she would kind of say it because she had like 4 kids. She was in her 50 something. So she knew everything and I knew nothing. And that was very annoying.
Yeah.
So I get rid of that.
That was very annoying. Yeah. I'm glad you're.
That's, yeah.
Yeah. It's so invasive, right? And just kind of insulting as you're a mom. Yeah.
It's your turn to be a mom, and that lady should have stayed in her lane.
Yeah.
That would make me so mad.
Yeah. Oh,
I told you, don't make things clear from the start. You're the mom.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a different physicality with the kids, and that can be uncomfortable for people watching us, maybe. Yeah. That was the thing, or whatever, but that's my way of being with my babies, and I'm the mom, and you're my employee, and so,
and I think you guys,
I felt
with our disability,
I'm thinking that she would do things better because she could handle the baby or hug him in a different way or put him sing him to sleep. I always made a point of being the one putting them to sleep. She's like, I can do it. I'm like, no,
I got it, lady.
I got it. It's okay.
Yeah. And it really, our disability really taught, I'm sure you both, like how to establish boundaries, no qualms about it, especially if these are your offsprings, these are my boundaries. So
Yeah,
that's
it's
good.
tough though. It's
Yeah.
tough when you're mom and where you're vulnerable.
Yeah.
When you're disabled in general, right? With the
Yeah.
caregiving is the same. You're more vulnerable because you need the help.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Thank you, Valeria. Just one last, are there any comments or advices you'd like to share about your experience in order just to educate others who misunderstand, in order to educate them about the varying possible ways to experience motherhood? Any advices, anything to just change their mind, not that you need to.
I think the one thing that I can say is becoming a mother has minimized the effect of the disability on me, like,
Yeah.
in a way. So it's just become like, it's right when I had them, this instinct kicked in. Like, I've never experienced anything like it, like this raw primal instinct
Yeah.
of motherhood just like kicked in. And this isn't just like, it really felt like a switch went off.
Yeah.
Such a bizarre, crazy, surreal feeling.
Yeah.
And I just think that biologically, like, that is normal. Like, that's what happens when you become a mother. And it's a very powerful feeling.
It is.
And so, I don't know. I think I don't have really any other advice, but I think that's a message to people with disabilities that becoming a mother is an avenue that they can take, and most likely it will make them feel good, and they're gonna love their children. It's a beautiful life experience.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much. You definitely sucked me in with that whole, I was so enamored by that, and it's so inspiring. Thank you so much. How about you, Valeria? Do you have any comments you'd like to share in order to educate others who misunderstand the concept of varying possible ways that exist in order to experience motherhood?
Yeah, it's really empowering becoming a mom. If that's your plan, I mean, talking to people with disabilities, if you think about having a baby, having a disability is not a reason for not having it, because it's extremely empowering, and yeah, the instinct kicks in, and it's like, it's great. I mean, you're gonna be happy for sure.
Gotcha.
To the people that are not disabled, I think first they shouldn't really care if I want to be a mother or not.
Yep.
If a person with disability wants to be a mom, it's her right. In any way she wants, natural, IVF, single, with a partner, whatever way she wants, has the same right as another person. So we're great moms, we're great humans, we're even a little stronger and more resilient than the other. So don't doubt about us. I mean, we do all the doubting already ourselves.
Yeah.
We do our research, we do our things, and we succeed. We're great. So mind your business. No, I'm kidding.
Tell him, Valeria. Tell him.
No, but really, we can be moms. We can be great moms. We're like everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. Great. Thank you so much, Valeria. All right, guys, it's about time to close out this amazing episode. If you girls would like to share your social media, Danny, we'll start with you, and then Valeria, and tell them where you can people can follow you. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Yeah. Sorry. Mine is going to be Danny Izzie, spelled Izzie. It looks like Izzy. I think, Tammy, you can put it in the comments or something.
I'll have it in the comment section. How about you, Valeria?
Yep, Valeria and the twins, very easy.
Great.
And yeah, that's just I'm not a big account like Danny, but I am sharing a little bit of my life and just
Yeah.
keeping some memories there.
Yeah, you guys
And
need to follow
so
them.
ask
The
me
twins are so
any
cute.
question.
Yeah. Yeah.
So any question like that you want to ask about whatever you heard here, and even the breastfeeding, to get more in details and things, please don't hesitate. I think we have to stick together.
Yep, you guys heard her. She's basically an open book, so feel free to follow Valeria and Danny, and you can follow me. Mine is resilient, RESILIENT.com with 2 M's, COMM. And, thank you so much for whoever's watching and who was watching. And thank you to Danny and Valeria for coming on to share about your amazing journey. If you enjoyed our show today, feel free to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get future alerts for our other episodes. I will be hosting these shows twice a month, the first and the third Wednesday of every month. Also, if you would like to shop Resilient apparel, feel free to click the link in the bio. All proceeds helps me afford ongoing physical therapy and just other medical expenses. But until next time, thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye.
Bye.
And
Bye. Thank you.
let me end it.